Hi YouTube, and this is JTrain997 back with another figure review. This time my DC Universe Classics Wave 8 Figure 6 Gentleman Ghost. Probably the figure I'm most looking forward to in the entire DC Universe Classics Wave 8. Now, Gentleman Ghost is part of the Build-A-Figure Giganta line, obviously. And he comes with the head and torso of Giganta, but not just that. He also has a very tiny Atom figure in there, as you can see right there. Now, that could be for one of two reasons. Reason one, Gentleman Ghost first appeared in Flash Comics 88. Now, I went back and looked up the cover of this book, I don't own it, and on the cover, Gentleman Ghost is riding away on the skeletal horse, and Hawkman and Atom are looking up the hill at him. So, Atom technically was in the first appearance of Gentleman Ghost. But the big Build-A-Figure Giganta, I don't know which Atom that's supposed to be. The new Atom series actually had a big crossover where Giganta was a major player in the Atom books before they got cancelled. So I'm not really sure what that's about. Okay, but obviously onto the figure. He comes with his cane and flintlock pistol. Very interesting in that. And of course he doesn't have a head. His head is held up by the coat, which is a really nice little effect. Okay, onto the back of the box. In this wave, Commander Steel, Dr. Fate, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Gentleman Ghost, Parademon, and Vigilante. Now, the bio bit, tells you he was a highwayman, he was hanged for his crimes, and he's been a big enemy for the Justice Society of America. But it really tones down what Gentleman Ghost is about. Now, because I know people who look at this box and are like, well, who's the arch enemies in the wave? The arch enemies are actually Hawkgirl and Gentleman Ghost. Because everyone knows Hawkgirl and Hawkman get reincarnated. Gentleman Ghost, when he was still Jim Craddock, was actually hanged by Hawkman, or the current incarnation, I think it was Nighthawk or something, because he thought he had sexually assaulted his companion Cinnamon, who was the current incarnation of Hawkgirl. He hadn't, but he still got hanged and got killed. So he mainly goes after Hawkman and Hawkgirl, even though he'll make an exception and go after the Justice Society occasionally. His powers, let's see. Insubstantial body is invisible to the human eye, induces extreme cold in people who touch him, can resurrect other ghosts from his enemy's past, sharpshooter with flintlock pistols, and completely immoral. He can also teleport short distances. He's been known to teleport the distance of a state. Of course, something they won't list. Virgins are unable to be touched by him, or to touch him. There was an issue where Stargirl was fighting him and she couldn't touch him because she was a virgin. Sorry about that. But yeah, obviously a very interesting figure. I'm loving the design and the overall look. He's probably the most sought-after figure in the Giganta wave. But let's pull him out of the pack. Okay, and here he is out of the box. Wanted to correct myself real quick. I said that the figure came with a torso of Giganta. It doesn't. It comes with a crotch. My bad. Now, this guy has fantastic detail. This is one of the most impressive things I've seen in the entire DC Universe Classics line as a whole. Oh crap, he fell over. Sorry about that. Anyways. Now, one thing about the figure that disappointed me, right off the bat, unfortunately, is while his cane can stay in his hand well enough, the flintlock pistol has a lot of difficulties. Now, you can see I have it in there pretty well now. You can see the finger is actually meant to go through the trigger guard. It does have some issues with staying in. Now, that's not a huge loss. I can live with that. But it was a little disappointing. Now, you're going to notice that towards the bottom of the figure, his legs actually turn into a really translucent plastic onto the back of the, also as on the back of the cape as well. Really loving that. I mean, it's the same basic idea as with Rex Mason, but you can see that the detail actually continues spreading up the inside of his cape. So yeah, that was one other thing that disappointed me about this figure is that the articulation is very limited by the upper little jacket part. You can't really raise his arms up above that, and they kind of made it flap out here so you can raise the pistol up, but nothing really spectacular. So the articulation is limited, unfortunately. Also the legs are really stiff. That may just be my figure, but it's given me a lot of resistance with the exception of going out, and it just seems like if I put a little too much pressure on it, it's going to break, and I don't want it to break. So, overall, the detail on this guy is fantastic. I'm loving the new sculpt they did. I know that this sculpt is actually going to be, with the exception of this little overcoat and obviously no head, they're going to use the same body for the Joker. In wave 11 or 12, I don't know which one it is. Okay, but I wanted to get a little close-up on his head there. You can see that the jacket is actually what's holding the cuff up, and you can see the monocle. Really loving that. The back of the figure's nothing special. He loves to fall, is one thing I noticed. And the flintlock fell on. So, he has his issues, which is unfortunate. But overall, this is still a really great figure. He just looks really impressive, and you can tell they did a lot of interesting new things with him. So, I'm taking that into consideration. I love him. He has his issues. Don't buy him thinking he's going to be a perfect figure, but at the same time, definitely don't skip him. I'd go a solid 8 on him. He has some, like, well, 8.5. He does have issues, but he's still a great figure. Now, the Atom that they came with, you can see this bar size comparison. The Atom won't stand. I don't know what it is, but I've tried him on a lot of different things. If I can prop him up against Gentleman Ghost. There we go. And you can see there, he has no articulation, and he can't stand on his own, so I don't really know what he's for. I don't really see why they put him in here. I mean, as far as Giganta can't hold him when she's done, and Gentleman Ghost obviously doesn't need a little Atom hanging around. But overall, this is JTrain 987, loving Gentleman Ghost, giving him an 8.5 out of 10, and I'll see you soon, YouTube.